Hello everyone, my name is Relax and Panic and this is another reaction for My Hero Academia. It is Season 3, Episode 3. And as always, for those of you who missed it last time, please, the reaction is in my description. Go down, you will find the link, replace the circumflex dot parts with real dots and watch the reaction. Once you've done, you can come back to this video, which is about discussing what just happened. So, I will see you soon. For those that came back, welcome back. What a nice episode. That was really good. I really liked it. Well, I got the big question last time how they train, and now we have seen it, and after seeing it, I am like, I don't know if I want to have a quirk now, because that is just torture, what they did there. Holy heck. So, we, before I go there, we had the intro again, as we should have every episode, and I just found another picture there, which I really liked. I commented on it already. The fact that All Might and Deko are sitting next to each other on this bench, I like this picture a lot. It is really cool because it shows you that they are not just, you know, student and teacher. They have become pretty close over the time. They are more like friends by now. I would like to see maybe somewhere in the future a picture where they are on and maybe all of their predecessors. It would be nice to learn more about those who came before them, having this power, the one for all, and to see where it originally came from. Which is possibly, I think, like one of the most interesting things. The first one who had it, we know a bit about him. But what was it? How was it passed on? To whom was it passed on? There are so many stories in there, so that's pretty interesting. Maybe we'll have such a picture in the future. So they brought in Class B, which is pretty cool, because we will possibly have a lot more quirks to watch, to see, and I'm always in for more quirks because that's entertaining at all. And we got the question answered, how do they train? And even one of those of Class B asked the same question. We are 20 people with different quirks, everyone. How do you want to train a quirk? Because everyone is different. And it is like a muscle. So that's the thing. You use it more, you use it stronger, you overuse it. Then you kind of stretch the limits bit by bit. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of practice, and as we have seen, a lot of pain. So, as example, Kachan, they put his hands into boiling water so that he sweats more. So I guess it is more like hot water, hopefully not really boiling, because he would burn himself. But it's an idea, so if he could, like, weirdly enough, sweat more, then he has more potential, I guess. For Todoroki, the mixing it up, so ice fire, always the one after the other, to improve his abilities, this channeling into different directions again and again, maybe the speed that he can change, and that's something I really look forward to in the future, to use both, so he could do like one hand fire, one hand ice, or something like that. And that would be pretty neat. I mean, it is already an incredible powerful quirk he has. If you think about, you can break through nearly everything with this. Just by physics, if you freeze something, then heat it again, freeze it, heat it, and so on. It's just a matter of time until whatever it is breaking apart. So he can break everything in the future. He already can, I guess. But if he could use both sides at the same time, he could go for like creating fog as example for a distraction, because he just creates a bit of ice and a bit of fire, and it vaporizes, and you have a nice fog which you can use. And a lot steam, to burn your enemies with steam, to like cook them living. There's, you know, a lot in. So in the end, everybody that has a quirk, which is, how did they say it, one-sided, not pretty sure about the wording, they just make him use it endlessly. until they fall unconscious. And by doing so, they raise the limits of how long you can do it, how strong you can do it, how often, repeatedly you can do it, all this stuff. For those who have more like a passive quirk, like better vision, better hearing, stuff like that, they just let them train the body part that is connected to this quirk. So this earplug, as example, by hitting it against the wall, and all the stuff alike. So in the end, it's all pain. Seriously, I mean, we have just seen it. It's what the heck, you know? Okay, those students subscribed to do it. They said, I want to be in the UA, I want to train. I'm aware that they make them train this ahead of time. So normally they would grow, those quirks would grow automatically by usage over this year. And by their bodies growing as well, they would increase. But they are forcing them to do it sooner because of the danger of the League of Villains, which, as we know now, is very, very real. But still, there's this question, where is the boundary? Where do you stop? You know, where does it move from training to torture? It's a bit like if you look at professional athletes, there is this as well, that you that they go over specific boundaries for themselves, and they do stuff to their bodies which is not healthy. They get better in their specific sports, but very often they tend to destroy their bodies on the long term. If you look at like riding as example, where the horses do not chose it by themselves. They had this habit of when you had spring horses, so those that are jump horses, jumping above specific obstacles. There were training methods to make the horse jump higher, or force the horse to jump, for training by fear in the end, with, you know, sticks that were hit on them and stuff alike. So yes, it is working, and yes, it is possibly pretty effective, but it is on the edge, partially at least. So here we can see that they go above their limits, and I think it might be dangerous now because, well, no, let me change that. If the League of Villain would have attacked exactly during the training, I think we would have more problems than we have now, because everyone was done. So if you wait like 5-6 hours, they are full in training. You have people like Kachan, who is just exhausted, Todoroki as well, Deku, everyone. You have people, just have to search his name because I always forget it. Where is he? I didn't write him down. I mean the one with the electricity just in front here in the picture. He just goes stupid when using his ability too much. So you can see that. So if they would have waited some hours and during the day have attacked, then all of the students would have been no enemy at all, because they would have been exhausted and you just have to handle the teachers. I mean, those are still pro heroes, so it's not easy. But by attacking, by waiting, and by attacking when they did their game of frightening each other, so class 1 A versus B, I'm pretty sure the teachers waited a bit before that. So they had food again, they had possibly a short amount of rest, not very much, and then they went for this gaming, so they at least were able to load their batteries a little bit. So in my opinion, it's not a good timing that the League of Villains uses here, but maybe they are not aware of this. I mean, still, the kids are possibly very, very much done. But yeah, that's at least a bit of benefit that the classes have. So they attack, they go in. It's 10 of them. I have like no clue what their abilities are. I mean, the one named Mustard, I'm pretty sure he's the one that created the gas that the students inhaled and fell unconscious with. It's very fitting, and he even looks like one of those World War I, World War II warriors. Mustard gas, possibly World War I. it's more prominent in this time. So he has possibly like a quirk that he can create gas out of himself in big amounts to poison people. So he is the one for just endangering everyone by being there. Thus the villains mainly seem to have masks. They well, they can possibly just wait. So everyone will have either to climb on a tree or hide somewhere a bit uphill to be safe from at least this kind of gas. But you force a move on your enemy. So it's a good thing to use him. It's clever. For the other 9, we do not really know very much yet. So looking forward to that. They already got one of the trainers out. So they got Pixie Bob down, which is a bit sad. I would have liked to see her fight. The other 3 are still there, but they are mainly more, as I stated, they are rescue heroes. So they're not really fighting heroes. So they have, I wrote them down, they have a search ability which enables them to know about your quirks and powers. This might come in handy against the villains, because if you know what the powers of the villains are, you can adapt to it. You can work with it, you know? They have this earth flow ability to create things, which we've seen in case of the monsters they created. Possibly they can, like Cementos, create walls and stuff alike, I guess. They have a telepath, which will be very handy in case they get scattered. So I don't know how far her range is. If she has enough range, she might call All Might and the others for help, which maybe is something the League of Villains wants. So maybe. And we have Punch and Kick. So we have the 4th one, who is at the moment at least just the muscle of a group, but he might be very important because we are in for a fight now. So that makes kind of sense now. We will see how it's going. Oh, we have the teachers there, so we have Eraserhead, who can be the trump card you want, but thus the villains know him. They will be aware of that. He is away at the moment with the extra students, so he's possibly not in the fight for a while. And we have, I forgot his name, I wrote him down, King whatever. The other guy who trains mainly Class B. So, looking out for what he is capable of, because we haven't seen much of him yet. So, well, they're kind of trapped at the moment. I am really looking forward to Kota, what this storyline will be about. So right now we learned that his parents were water-based characters, it seems. So water-based quirks. Water hose. So I guess they were possibly into like good against fire, good against when the wood was burning, as example, the whole forest was burning. Maybe that's something like. We have seen one of those heroes in the past. I don't think it was a parent of his, but we had this fire department hero who looked like a firefighter. So maybe they're related to him, or it's just coincidence. However, he seems to have a quirk himself, which is something like punching or stone influence, because I guess what happened around the corner where they were talking was his quirk. He does not hate heroes. He hates quirks in general. That makes sense, because out of the view of a kid, what happened is your parents using their quirks were fighting against someone else who had a quirk and they died. And if no one would have quirks and at all, then possibly there wouldn't be this villains against heroes thing, which is true. I mean, in the end, the society in general changed because of quirks. Before you had the normal society which we know. So if there were villains, you had the police, you had, well, in cases where it was really needed, like an army or special forces to deal with them. So, but it wasn't the normal people didn't have to interact with them. So you have specifically trained and well equipped people to deal with stuff like that, at least should. When the quirks came along, those special forces became less and less influential and less needed because they cannot keep up with a superhero trait in the end, or a villain with incredible powers. It's nice that if you have a gun or if you have clops, but if the guy on the other hand simply has metal skin, it doesn't matter. So I can see that, and yes, he's right. If those quirks wouldn't exist, very well, it might be his parents hadn't died. Possibly his parents would have had normal jobs, a baker and, I don't know, a saleswoman or stuff like that. So, from this perspective, his I hate quirk thing makes sense. But it is, as Deku says, you cannot deny what is. It just makes it worse, you know? People have quirks in this world. You cannot change that. It is as it is, and by hating on everyone that has quirks, you just make your own life more miserable, because as far as we know, about 80% of people have quirks. You cannot hate on 80% of the world, or you will be a villain. And even then, you would be no important villain at all because you don't have a quirk, or you don't use it in this case. So the problem here is he hates quirks, and he himself seems to have a quirk. So what is it? Are you start hating on yourself for it? He would be one that tries to suppress his quirk, not to train it, to deny it, and that might endanger people. Not only him, that might endanger everyone around him, because if you don't learn to work with your quirk and what it is able to do, then you cannot control it, and you might endanger others. So I have to be on the side of Deku here. In the end, however, someone was behind him, behind Kota. I guess it is one of the villains. I'm not sure who, however. It's not the one we've seen to be kind of the leader right now. I don't know if it is just this squad jumping in there. So they named themselves Vanguard Action Squad. Well, why not? Question is, do they do it on their own, or do they have like supervision from the League of Villains, which we know? I mean, we know that they got something which was named to be wiggling and moving. I guess maybe the masks from the League of Villains. Question is, would they be sent in alone? So the ones like Daki and so on, or would Tomura come along and watch them at least? So because that might be someone who is up there with Kota. It is a good place to watch over the forest, to have a look what's going on. So maybe it is Tomura there, or it is one of the other 10. No idea. However, it speaks volumes that Deku is first thinking about Kota, because he's not around and there are villains. So he's like, I have to defend the civilian, you know, I have to defend the kid. So he will possibly try to find them. But first they will have to survive this onslaught, which is going on now. Next episode. Yeah, well, we're in for a fight. I mean, not so much to question there. Right now, the students are scattered through the forest because of this track they did about the Class 1B was completely scattered to wait for Class 1A, and Class 1A went into pairs into the woods. So we have at least Tsu and Uravity. We have Todoroki and Kachan as a pair of two. I don't know if there are other pairs. Possibly, might be. Most of the others, however, are still in one group. But Class 1B is completely scattered and alone in the woods, and I'm admittedly a little bit afraid that some of them might die in this. You know, if you know what a plot armor is, I guess Class 1A has some kind of plot armor. I'm not sure about Class 1B, so that might be a problem. The other group is of those who have to do additional trainings, who are with Eraserhead, so I guess we will have a meeting there as well. But they have the benefit of having a pro hero on their side. And we have Kota alone by himself. I would like it. I would think it would be kind of hilarious if they would reach Kota and he would just have smashed one or two of the evil guys alone. You know, like he may not like the quirk, but he still has a really powerful one. Why not? Would be interesting. But I think they are going for what they talked, Todoroki and Deku talked before about. He's someone that doesn't know you. Just by talking, you will not make an influence on his opinions. By action, you will do. So I guess we will go for a heroic rescue, that Deku is rescuing him. And maybe by doing so, he can change his mind, or at least make him think about what the society is about right now. So that's it this time. And as always, yeah. What does it mean for us? Another week of waiting here. Well, we waited some months for season 3, so whatever. We will get through it. I will see you in the next week. I hope you enjoyed this, and until then, please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.